So be throwing rocks and hiding their hand, right? They be throwing rocks and hiding their hand. And I don't like them kind of individuals.
A sucker is a nigga pick who he be fight with.
Right.
Like if you sitting and you go, I'm not going because this. I think I can take him.
So who really runs Houston? Is it the self-proclaimed king of the streets, Jay Prince, the man behind mob ties and decades of whispered power? Or is it 50 Cent, the ruthless mogul who moved in, took over, and made the city his playground without asking for permission? What started as silent tension has turned into an all-out Cold War, one built on backroom deals, intimidation, and a check-in system that some call protection and others call extortion. But here's the twist. 50's not just surviving in Houston, he's thriving, and that's making a lot of people nervous. Because when 50 moved in, he didn't just bring his businesses, he brought receipts, and he's not afraid to use them. It all started with a tweet. "I love New York, but I live in Houston now," 50 Cent wrote, casual, bold, and calculated. For most people, it sounded like a man embracing a new chapter.
You know what's a sucker to me? A sucker is a pick who he be fight with.
Right.
Like if you sitting and you go, I'm not going because this.
I won't fuck with him, but I'll fuck with this one.
Yeah, I think I can take him.
Right.
You want to fight the nigga you think you can beat.
But if you know how power works in Houston, you know that tweet was anything but innocent. 50 didn't just move, he invaded. He brought his brands, his production company, his entire operation. Branson Cognac, Sire Spirits, G-Unit Films, all of it now had a new home base, H-Town. He even said it himself, Texas was better for business. Lower taxes, more freedom, fewer hands in his pockets. But in Houston, freedom has a price. And one man, Jay Prince, has been collecting that price for decades. Known as the Quiet Dawn of the city, Jay Prince built an empire not just through music, but through influence. Deep, street-level influence. He's respected. He's feared. And when people come into his city, there's a rule they all know. Check-in. It's presented as a courtesy, a cultural norm, a form of mutual respect. But those who know, check-in means paying up. Check-in means recognizing who runs the streets. 50 Cent didn't just ignore the check-in system, he stomped all over it. And that didn't sit right with Jay Prince. Because in his eyes, 50 wasn't just setting up shop. He was disrespecting everything Prince had spent decades building. This wasn't about music anymore. It wasn't about business. This was about pride, about control, and about two men who don't back down. What could have been a simple move turned into a quiet declaration of war. And Houston was the battlefield. It didn't take long for the message to reach 50. In Houston, things move fast, but in the streets, things move quietly. Word started spreading that Jay Prince wasn't happy, and when Jay Prince isn't happy, people start showing up. Allegedly, it started small. Phone calls, conversations behind closed doors, friendly advice from people connected to Prince's circle. But when you're dealing with someone like 50 Cent, advice doesn't work, pressure doesn't work, fear definitely doesn't work. This is the same 50 Cent who survived 9 shots. The same 50 who battled some of the biggest names in hip-hop and left them embarrassed. You think he's gonna fold because someone told him to check in? Not a chance. Instead of backing down, 50 did what only 50 knows how to do. He laughed. He mocked the system publicly. He threw shots on Instagram, daring Jay Prince to come out from the shadows. And this wasn't just for entertainment. This was calculated warfare. Because 50 knew something most people forget. When you expose power for what it really is, you weaken it. You turn fear into comedy. And 50 was turning Houston's most feared gatekeeper into a meme. But make no mistake, that kind of disrespect comes with consequences. And Jay Prince, he wasn't about to let 50 dance in his city without retaliation. The tension had gone from silent to public, from whispers to headlines. Houston wasn't big enough for both of them. While Jay Prince was fuming in the background, 50 was doing the unthinkable. He was taking over the city, legally, publicly, and with full support. He didn't just move to Houston, he planted his flag. Liquor stores started stocking Branson Cognac like it was H-Town's official drink. Sire Spirits popped up in clubs, parties, and NBA arenas. 50 wasn't just running his brand, he was running the culture. Then came the big announcement. 50 was opening a film studio, G-Unit Film and Television, right in Houston. A $20 million project, jobs, opportunity, infrastructure, the kind of thing that changes a city forever. This wasn't just business, it was a statement. I don't need your permission, I am the new boss. And the city responded. The mayor honored him with a key to the city. They gave him his own official day. November 24th is 50 Cent Day in Houston now. Let that sink in. While Jay Prince was demanding loyalty behind the scenes, 50 was being celebrated in front of flashing cameras and cheering crowds. And he wasn't done. He started the Unity Business Lab, a program turning high school students into entrepreneurs. He partnered with the Rockets, the Texans, and the Astros. He gave away 1,000 turkeys for Thanksgiving. Then he donated $850,000 worth of toys to local kids, followed by another $500,000 raised for Houston children's charities.
Came to the city of Houston, but he didn't just come here to live. He has been helping out on so many causes in this city. And especially, he has been in our high schools, turning our high school students into entrepreneurs with his G-Unity Camp program. I've seen him firsthand. This city has been elevated because of his presence, and so today we have the honor of saying to him, he's our 2022 Grand Marshal. Give it up to Curtis 50 Jackson. Now, before I call on him to speak, let me present you first a key to the city of Houston. Anywhere you go, 550 buildings, use the key, the door will swing wide open.
This wasn't charity for optics. This was a masterclass in dominance. 50 was buying goodwill with money and locking in loyalty with action. The people loved him, the city backed him, and Jay Prince, he was being slowly pushed out of his own territory. Not with violence, but with influence. But power doesn't fade quietly. For decades, Jay Prince controlled Houston through one simple rule: check-in. On the surface, it sounds harmless. A form of street etiquette, a sign of respect when entering someone else's territory. But behind the smoke and mirrors, it was something else entirely. A pay-to-play system. Come to Houston and you'd better show love in the form of cash. If you didn't, well, you might get unlucky. The stories go way back. Artists robbed after refusing to check in. Chains snatched, entourages jumped, rumors of setups, all tied back to Prince and his mob ties network. And if something went down, guess who magically had the stolen items ready to be returned for a price? NBA YoungBoy found out the hard way. He rolled into Houston on his own terms, no check-in. Days later, his place was hit. Chains gone, cash gone, keys to his luxury cars all missing. Then like clockwork, Jay Prince popped up online with a video. He found the stolen items and was ready to return them if YB reached out, but YoungBoy wasn't biting. He clapped back, hard. Called it what it was, extortion disguised as kindness. And he exposed the game publicly. He wasn't the only one. Rappers like Cameron and Maashe aired out Jay Prince on their podcast, mocking the whole big homie act, old school power, outdated tactics. Instead of empowering younger artists, they accused him of playing puppet master, pulling strings while hiding behind tradition. And then came the rumors, the dice games. Jay Prince's name started popping up in whispers after multiple rappers were either robbed or worse, taken out after showing up to his friendly dice nights. Takeoff, Duke the Jeweler. Both lost their lives in connection to dice games under Prince's circle, both surrounded by suspicion, confusion, and silence. Suddenly, the check-in culture didn't look like culture anymore. It looked like a trap that 50 refused to step into, and that made him dangerous. Not because he was violent, but because he wasn't afraid. He didn't play the game, he exposed it. Jay Prince might have built a reputation off fear, but 50 Cent? He built one off exposure. And once he saw how deep the check-in game really ran, he didn't just ignore it. He made fun of it. He turned it into content. Trolled Jay Prince on Instagram, posted memes, mocked the mob ties system in plain sight. He wasn't throwing punches in back alleys. He was throwing shade in front of millions, and people started to notice. Not just fans, but businesses, city leaders, media outlets. Houston wasn't rallying behind its old street king anymore. It was rallying behind 50, the outsider who refused to be scared and gave back more than anyone expected. Everything Jay Prince once controlled, the narrative, the perception, the street loyalty, was shifting. And 50 knew it. He doubled down, he made more appearances, hosted the Houston Tycoon Comedy and Music Festival, partnered with the Houston Rockets to hand out 1,000 free turkeys, then partnered again to distribute tens of thousands of toys for the holidays. He wasn't just building a business empire, he was building legacy. But while the mayor was giving him the key to the city, while crowds were chanting his name and schools were naming programs after him, Jay Prince was quiet. Too quiet. Because silence in the street world doesn't mean peace, it means planning. And word was starting to spread. That Prince wasn't done. He had lost the crowd, lost the spotlight, but not the streets. And 50's rise might have painted a target on his back bigger than anyone realized. Behind the scenes, things were heating up. 50 Cent had the spotlight. He had the city's love. But Jay Prince, he still had the streets. And that's a different kind of power. Whispers started floating through Houston that Jay Prince wasn't done playing. Rumors spread that he was quietly aligning with old connections, maybe even sending subtle warnings 50's way. People close to the situation claimed Prince was trying to squeeze 50 out of the city, one pressure point at a time. And then there was Big Meech. See, Jay Prince and Big Meech had always moved in similar circles. Both respected, both feared. When 50 started publicly working on a project about Big Meech's life, the streets started talking. Was Prince okay with it? Was there friction? Was this another line 50 had crossed? Allegedly, Prince wasn't just sitting back, watching, he was pulling strings. Maybe even sending people to remind 50 that Houston wasn't fully his yet. There were unconfirmed reports of threats, intimidation tactics, even a few close calls around 50's business spots. But the thing about 50 Cent, he doesn't fold under pressure. In fact, it only fuels him more. Sources say he started gathering receipts, real receipts. Information, documents, behind-the-scenes knowledge of how the check-in system worked. Names, dates, numbers, and word is, he's ready to burn it all down. Because this isn't just about music anymore. It's about legacy. It's about rewriting who really runs Houston. And 50, he's not here to share the throne. At the end of the day, this isn't just a rap beef. This isn't about music sales, club appearances, or social media trolling. This is about power. Real power. 50 Cent came to Houston with business on his mind, but he walked straight into a world built on fear, loyalty, and decades of street control. And instead of playing by the rules, he tore the rule book apart. He didn't check in, he didn't pay up, he didn't fold, he took the city, legally, publicly, loudly. Meanwhile, Jay Prince is watching it all slip through his fingers. A legacy built in the shadows now being challenged in the spotlight. But here's the thing, power never dies quietly. And Houston is still a battlefield. So what happens next? Does 50 Cent really have the streets on lock? Or is he walking into a war he can't see coming? Will Jay Prince let this slide? Or is he already planning his next move in the dark? Because in this city, respect isn't given, it's taken.